Hello and welcome to The Real Hernando, presented to you by Wesley Meadows Retirement Community and produced by SRP Studios Podcasting. This podcast spotlights organizations, ministries, and community leaders in Hernando and Greater DeSoto County by sharing their stories and what led them to serve the community. Please follow us at therealhernando.com for all channels and social media platforms. Now, a word from our sponsor. Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care the residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. I'm your host, Derek, and today we are spotlighting the ARC Northwest Mississippi, an advocacy nonprofit for individuals of all ages with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. They create events and programs that help people with special needs live their best lives. They help their families connect to critical services and educate the community about the people they serve. Joining me is Executive Director Rebecca Treadway. Hello, Rebecca. Did I get your last name right?
You got it all right.
All right. Welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for having me.
Yes, good meeting you. So I'm looking forward to talking more about ARC. Is that what it's called in short? The ARC?
Sure, we say the ARC. The ARC NWMS, the ARC. Yep.
The ARC. It's much easier for my mumbling voice to handle. The ARC. Okay. Well, let's start with a little bit of what the ARC is and what y'all do, and then I want to get to know Rebecca more. So if you could just give us a little information on what the ARC is.
Okay, so the ARC, our chapter of the ARC, chartered back in 2014. The ARC is actually a national organization. At the national level in Washington, they lobby and try to create legislation that betters the lives of individuals with disabilities. We have a state chapter of the ARC that does the same thing, but our local chapter, which we chartered in 2014, kind of blazes our own path. We do not lobby, but we are dedicated to figuring out ways that we can better the lives of people with disabilities in our community, specifically people with intellectual and developmental disabilities like autism, Down syndrome, seizure disorder, cerebral palsy, anything that affects the way the brain processes information.
So what is your role in this as the executive director?
So I guess I am the person that plans the trajectory of what we're doing, designs the programs, keeps everybody organized, is the main cheerleader, takes out the trash, does the dishes, makes sure everything is locked up, talks to funders, helps plan things, just in general, everything that I can do.
How long have you been with the ARC?
I was on the original board of directors when we chartered in 2014. And at that time, I was a school teacher. And I left my position teaching school in 2015 and started to do this full time.
Okay, what motivated you? Excuse me. Cut. I'll edit that. What motivated you to take that role on?
So in my original career, I was a music teacher. And then in 2005, I had my fabulous son, Ethan, who later we found out that he had autism spectrum disorder. And honestly, instead of spending all of my time becoming a better music teacher, that was not what I was doing. I was running programs in the community for people with disabilities and trying to figure out how to connect people to services, because it was basically a desert of information that there were some things out there, but no one knew how to access them. And so I got a bunch of like-minded parents together and we found some sponsors and just got the wheels spinning and decided what should be our first target. And then we started to build programming that really was just revolved around social interaction. There was a study done back in 2000 that asked individuals, adults with autism, who they could name as their friend. And like less than 1% of people could name anyone as a friend. And so we were like, that's completely unacceptable. So we started to build social clubs first. Now we have social clubs for all ages of individuals, and we use our local community high schools and colleges and business professionals to come in and be one-on-one buddies with the people that we serve, because people with disabilities, they just want what everybody else wants. They want to be accepted and loved, and they want to have friends, and they want to communicate with others. And so we try to find the people that want to be a part of that, and we just reel them in.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have a social clubs on Friday nights. We do parents' night out that are for our younger kids. We just try to keep people connected. And now it's so fun with the adults. They really don't even need the volunteers because now they have such deep connection to each other that the volunteers are around, but they don't even care. They just want to be together.
When you first started gathering the people, did they also have either children or family members with disabilities? Is that what kind of drew them in?
I mean, that's how it started. But when you were reading our description of our organization, the last thing we say is that we're educating the community about the people that we serve. And how we really do that is through the volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking these volunteers and we're finding the people that really have a heart for it and love it. And we're teaching them how to be advocates for the people we serve. We're teaching them to love them and to understand how to interact with them. And when they see things in the community that are unjust or that people need help, they're reaching out and helping.
So let's try to educate a little bit. I know your son is autistic, so maybe let's start there because you have firsthand experience. What is it? What can a parent expect in raising someone with autism?
Well, I mean, special needs parents, gosh, it's really hard. And specifically with autism, we say in our community, if you know one person with autism, you know one person with autism. So every person is so different.
Right.
And so all of us as parents, we're constantly trying to find each other and figure out, okay, this is what it looks like for my child. Who else is on that path? Who else can understand what I'm going through? And then we try to listen to each other and we try to figure out and problem solve and kind of how can we address these issues? Like, just for example, one of the things, people with autism often do something called stimming. It's where they're regulating themselves, where they'll have repetitive motions or make repetitive sounds. And in the community, we do want to educate people about that because when you see someone stimming, it could look like, I don't know, maybe that they're on drugs or something, but they're not. They're just having trouble with the environment around themselves.
Is it overstimulating?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they're doing something to help calm them down.
Gotcha.
So on one hand, we're trying to teach our children, our individuals we work with, hey, the local community gets a little scared of you when you do that. So we're trying to get them to understand and stop. But gosh, sometimes they just get upset. Yeah. When you're disappointed. And I remember one time my son was looking forward to getting a video game that was being released, and we thought we had pre-ordered it, and we didn't. So we were in the store, and, he's old enough to know not to lose it, and he's trying really hard, but he is stimming a little bit because he's so upset about that. And so it's helpful when the community can look at it and be like, oh, that child probably has autism, and he's just trying to get himself together.
And I think it's so easy for people to say, that person's on the spectrum. I think I've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's on the spectrum. She looks like she's on the spectrum and not even realizing what that means.
Yeah.
So tell us what the spectrum is and what does that look like? Clearly, I think we can all figure out and like you said, they're all different.
Yes.
But what does each end look like and what is the middle? Like what's light and what's heavy?
Sure. All right. So there is a book called the DSM. It's a diagnostic manual that a bunch of very smart psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors get together, and they label people on the spectrum as level 1, level 2, and level 3. So a level 1 person on the spectrum really is only affected by their speech or their social. I'm sorry, their speech is not affected, like how they socially interact with other people. So they're really difficult to spot in the community. Really until probably they get stressed, and then you can see it a little bit better.
Okay, yeah.
And I think technically people with ADHD are considered on the spectrum a little bit too, but they're so high functioning that I'm not even sure they consider themselves on the spectrum.
Like I said, it's becoming a blanket term now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you're level 2, my son is level 2, your speech is impacted as well as your behavior and the way you sensory perceive things. So they're a little easier to spot. And then individuals that are level 3 autism, they're easy to spot because they usually have a caregiver with them. So that's someone that might not actually have speech, that they communicate other ways, like with a device that they use to talk or with gestures or with sounds.
So years ago, I was at a fundraiser for autism, and they had a big tent. and it was all different kinds of artwork from kids that have autism. And oh my God, like it wouldn't, whether it was clay or painting or, popsicle sticks, didn't matter. All of it was amazing and next level. So you hear the term savant sometimes, like, is there also a level of autism where they can hyper focus on one thing?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, that definitely is a thing. I know, of course, I know so many people with autism. I know relatively few savants, but I do know kids that really hyper focus. And the hyper focus can change from time to time. So I guess my son went through like the whole train hyper focus.
Okay.
And then that faded away. And then he was in like a Mario hyper focus.
Sort of obsessive about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes. But as they get older, a lot of the kids, sometimes that will fade. But yes, hyperfocus it's a big thing.
Is it part of it? Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay. Let's move on to something else of the type of disabilities you work with. So you said cerebral palsy. What were some of the other ones that you work with?
Down syndrome.
Okay.
Angelman syndrome.
What's that one?
Okay. So Angelman is like a genetic disorder. It's a chromosomal disorder that makes it difficult to balance. If we have someone with Angelman's, we're really careful about them walking. It does affect the way they process information. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Okay. And then being a musician, there's been so many times where people with Down syndrome were out in the audience, the best audience member you could ask for.
Yeah.
Music just taps them differently, doesn't it? So tell us more about Down syndrome and what you've learned.
Okay. So Down syndrome folks, one thing, some people will say Down syndrome folks are always happy. They're always smiling. That is not always true.
Right.
It's
have easy to think that.
Yes.
It really is.
It is not. They have very different personalities. It is true that they are, in general, happy folks. But they do have different attitudes about things, and they function on a variety of levels as well, too.
So they have their own spectrum?
Well, I don't know if they would call it a spectrum, but some people with Down syndrome are less affected by the disorder and other people are more impacted by it.
Okay.
So
what do you see in the arc as far as Down syndrome?
Well, I see that we are grabbing as many Down syndrome people as we can, and we are trying to help them unite together, because I think sometimes for people with Down syndrome, because there's so much autism going on, that they feel like they're a little overshadowed by the people with autism.
Okay.
And so we really want to celebrate them for who they are and help them find their path.
So you would say autism is the lion's share of the disabilities you work with?
Well, it's just so prevalent in the media, and there just seems to be a lot more diagnosis of autism recently.
Yeah.
And so it kind of seems like it's in the spotlight more.
Okay.
But we want our friends with Down syndrome to feel just as important.
Absolutely. Yeah. So cerebral palsy. Tell me more about what that is.
Okay, so cerebral palsy affects the way that you can motor your body, your arms and your legs work. And so some people have slight cerebral palsy, and they can walk and move. They just need some sort of help, like a cane, and then other people with cerebral palsy are in a wheelchair. We have a couple of our guys that have cerebral palsy that communicate with, there's a dot on their forehead and they have a board in front of them, and they use that dot to communicate with us on the electric talking device.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
So when you say that you have these social events, do you sometimes have one that's specific to a certain disability?
No, we don't.
Do you just
mix them
put them
together.
all in one room?
We sure do. We do separate them by age, though.
Okay.
Because we found adults really are not all that jazzed about being around 6-year-olds. So, we do an adult club, and we do a high school, middle school club together.
Yeah.
And then we do the younger children by themselves.
Because I would gather each group has their own social
Yes.
deficiencies, right?
Yeah, or just eccentricities. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Okay.
So like they're just a little bit, everybody's a little bit quirky.
So what are some of the other programs that you guys provide?
So we're really excited about our new job readiness program. We're working really closely with Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services, and our focus is on individuals ages 14 to 21, and we are trying to get them job ready. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that people are wanting to work full-time jobs, although some people are. Yeah. But some of our folks, they just need to work a little bit. They want to feel like they're part of the community, and we want to find them places where the employer and the employees are welcoming to them and they have tasks for them to do, and they can just feel like a part of the organization, even if it's like for a couple hours, 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah, we all want to be a part of something.
Yes.
Right? And especially if they're working and maybe earning some money, right? That's independence, right?
Yep. And a lot of our kids don't even really care that much about the money. It's not really about the money. It's really just about being part of something and feeling valued and that you're worthwhile.
Yeah. And it takes their mind off whatever they might be thinking and stressing about, right?
Yeah. And, when you're in school, of course, school is just amazing because it's built in programming every day. It's friends around you all the time. And when that ends for our folks, when they actually exit school, gosh, that's a sad time because they can get involved in some day programs in our community, which is great, but that's not for everybody, or not all kids are qualified to go to them. And so if you take someone with a developmental disability and you sit them on their mom's couch for 5 years, it becomes a mental health crisis because they're depressed and they're bored and they need interaction with people. So we're just really dedicated to making partnerships with businesses where we can show the business, here, look at what this person can do. Could this benefit you in your business? Is this something that you would be willing to hire someone to do?
How many businesses have you found willing to do that?
So this past summer, we partnered with 15 businesses, and we're working with Mississippi Department of Rehabilitation Services to get folks placed inside of those businesses permanently. What we do in the summertime is we offer our folks to go out to those places, and they work with supervision. And so now we're just trying to push past that to try to actually find businesses that are willing to let people come and work there. Now
just full-time without
not even full-time.
Or just no supervision?
Yes. Well, sometimes they can have supervision, but it is better if we can get the business to help the person be successful. Chick-fil-A is a really amazing, they do it really well.
That's not surprising.
Yep. Zaxby's is good. Kroger is great at it. Lost Pizza has done it several times for us in South Haven. I don't want to leave. Tina Tatum is at Coffee Central.
Okay.
She has been excellent about that as well.
That's not surprising either.
Yeah. So, we're just continually looking for businesses to help us out. And
how can a business get involved if they're listening right now?
Oh my gosh. They can email us at admin@thearcnwms.org, or they can call 662-510-8989, and we will hook you up.
And we're going to start talking how people can volunteer and sponsor and everything. So I would gather that information ties in with everything.
It does.
Okay.
We try to make our website a one-stop shop, and there is a drop-down tab for volunteers.
Okay.
And if you are a high schooler, there is a tab for you where you just go in and you can just sign up. Okay. If you're an adult, we ask you to fill out a different tab, and we reach out and touch base with you just to make sure, that this is the right fit for you and we have you in the right place. And then once we've had that conversation, then we hop you in on the other side, and you can, and after a volunteer comes 2 times, we do a background check and make them an official.
Gotcha. Because you have to have some form of vetting.
Yes.
Yes. Obviously, because
we don't
adults
want felons
dealing with kids.
Yeah.
So they're locked in. What does it look like to volunteer for the ARC?
All right, so it depends on you. It could be just as simple as you show up to clubs that you enjoy and you just help us inside of those clubs. Now, if you have like a special skill or ability, like sometimes we have people that need to come by and help us with, like, in our job readiness program, sometimes we have to laminate a lot of stuff and cut it out. And so sometimes we have people that come by and just help us do that. Occasionally we'll have mailers that go out. We need people to help us do those things. So there's lots of different opportunities. If if your business wants to partner with us, sometimes we can bring an entire business out to do things with us. So there's just so many opportunities out there.
So now someone wants to sponsor. What is sponsor cut? What does sponsorships look like to you as far as what you need and how people can get involved with that?
Great. So we are always running a sponsorship campaign. There's always something going. So we have a huge camp in the summer called Camp Bold, which is at Longview Heights Baptist Church. This past year, we've built up to 5 weeks, and next year we're doing 6 weeks. So starting in February, we have a huge sponsorship campaign to help us run Fund Camp Bold. It usually takes us about $50,000 to run camp for the entire summer. And so we're pulling in sponsors all the time. At this time of the year, we're getting ready to do our Arktoberfest, which is a play on Oktoberfest.
There you go. All right.
And we do that in partnership with the Mississippi Ale House in Olive Branch. Derek Curran that owns the Ale House is on our board of directors, and he's a huge supporter of our mission.
Very nice.
As is Jonathan Ma, who owns Side Street Burgers and Obi Pizza. And so we all partner together. We do a fun run and a color run in the morning on October 5th. And we're also doing a beer festival in the evening. And these things, the fun run and the vendors market and the color run, those are for our folks and the community to come out and be together. And then the beer festival really is a fundraiser for us.
So what is the fun run and the color run?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, I'm sorry. I said it wrong. Okay. So it's a 5K for all of our, serious runners that want to run. And then we have a 1 mile that we have, the color dust that you can get thrown at you.
That's where I thought you were going with
this.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the color run, you do it by your team. You get a team together. And if you're a team that really wants a lot of color thrown at you, you get a green balloon. And if you really just want to do the fun run and get very minimal color, you get a red balloon.
Okay.
And so your team then does the fun run, and we're all cheering for you and stuff. And it depends on what color balloon you have, how much color you get.
The people standing on the sidelines are just throwing color balloons. What is the stuff that's in there?
Well, the things that we throw at them, it's just this powder that is colored powder, and it's best if you're going to do it to wear white, because then you'll just be completely covered in powder.
And then it shows.
Yes, and then you can just wear your shirt later. Yeah, it's very fun.
Do you have more green balloons than red?
Yeah, so I would say that people that bring out their littles, they would like light color.
Makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. But there are some of our folks that come out that are teenagers that want to support us. They'll bring big teams out, and they want to get completely doused. And we do it for them.
Absolutely. That'd be fun. I want to be the one throwing them.
Yeah, you can. We take volunteers.
So again, what's the information on any volunteers any sponsors that would want to connect with you?
Yes. So if you go to our website at www.thearcnwms.org, thearcnwms.org, you can, everything is there on our website. It'll tell you, click here to sponsor, click here to become a member, click here to look at our programs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And do you take donations?
Absolutely. We have a big donate button. So
right there at the top, right?
Yes.
So do you get a good amount? Do you have memberships where people are donating on a monthly basis?
We do have some people that do that, and when you click the donate button, that is an option, and we really, really appreciate that. That lightens the load on us. It makes it easier, and of course, the more money we have, the more programs we run. So,
well, before we wrap up, are there any closing words that you have? Anything that we're missing that you'd really feel is important to share?
Well, I just really feel that the success of the ARC is really all about the community, because the community has wrapped their arms around us and tried in so many ways to help us be successful, whether it's people volunteering, people donating, businesses partnering with us. And I just... we started off in a room that was teeny tiny, and we just were able to purchase our first building, which is over on Elmore Road behind Sam's Club. Okay. And so just to be able to do that, that's a testament to how much support we have in the community. And we just want to keep going. So the more support we're given, the more programs we're built, the more difference that we'll make in the community for people.
I love it. I appreciate you and what you do, because these kids need it. They need a place to feel comfortable.
That's correct.
That's all they need. That's all they're looking for.
Yep.
They don't need judgment and bullying and all that stuff.
That's correct.
I'm sure they deal with enough of that already. So you all provide a safe space.
That's right.
Is that what it is?
A loving environment where
Yes.
people can grow.
Awesome. I love it. Well, before I say goodbye, I want to talk to the listeners. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. If you made it this far, congratulations. You can follow us at therealhernando.com. You can find our network links for Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I want to thank all of our awesome sponsors and Wesley Meadows Retirement Community for being our title. The support that we get from the sponsors is what makes this possible. The lights above me, the floor lights behind me, and the wonderful guest across from me is all because of you. So thank you to the sponsors. And you can learn more about how to become a sponsor by going to the page, therealhernando.com. Thank you again. And thank you again, Rebecca. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck to you. And I hope you guys continue to grow.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. Thank you. Take care.